right, welcome. Okay, this is another live legacy sessions for you guys, and this could be a game changer for you in your business when it comes to hiring second shooters, or if you're a second shooter and you're trying to find some more work with quality photographers and videographers are looking to hire and need some help. This is a really, really cool solution that you might not have seen yet. And there's a few problems when it comes to if you are a second shooter or if you're trying to find second shooters that we'll talk about a bit more. But it's a problem that's been around for so long in our industry that no one seemed to solve yet. And you're stuck like scouring Facebook groups, trying to have connections. And how do you find quality second shooters? And then also for the second shooters, how do you find quality people to work with and to work for? So you guys have a brand new solution that we're going to bring to you. And finally, someone actually tried to figure out how do we solve this problem, and has gone all in on creating a really cool and unique solution. I've been looking at it for a while now, kind of seeing it, and I'm excited to show you guys this. So I'm going to introduce you guys to the founder of this. His name is Jimmy Lick, okay? And he created a company called Second Society. So I'm going to bring him in. We're going to do an interview, talk about what it is, talk about why this is so important, how this can help you. And then we also have a really cool giveaway here at the end. But let's bring in Jimmy here.
Yo.
Yeah. Okay, you guys all still hear us? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear Jimmy?
Can you hear me? Check. 1, 2. Testing.
I think we're good. I can hear on my side. All right. So first, I, the founder of Second Society. Let's talk a little bit about your industry, your experience in the industry, right? As a big videographer in California, and how you're doing that first, and like, what's your experience there? Let's start there.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate you bringing me out into the live world. Yeah, so I live in Carlsbad, California. I've been filming weddings full time since 2015. Before that, I was a videographer for a local church here, and basically the church just gave me all the business, right? So people were getting married, found out that I was the filmmaker for the church, and they kind of hired me on the spot, and I realized, like, man, this can make some good money. I was making more money in a weekend than I was in 2 weeks working for a nonprofit. So I was like, this is incredible, you know?
Yeah.
And just went from there. And so, yeah, I've been filming for 10 years now. Second Society was birthed out of a huge pain point for us, which was we got into destination wedding filmmaking. And right outside of COVID, basically we had a wedding get postponed. We had a Tahoe wedding already scheduled, a postponement wedding scheduled on the same day in San Jose, and it was almost $1 million wedding. So we needed 3 incredible shooters, and I thought, hey, why not go to the Facebook groups in San Jose and just pick up 3 people, and then they'll take care of them. But it was not that easy. So I pretty much interviewed 50 people, whether that's looking through their websites or reaching out to them, finding out if they're available. And nobody was available, or I just didn't trust them that they could do the job that I needed them to do. And so I ended up hiring 3 guys, you know, one in North Carolina, one in Texas, and one in San Diego to fulfill that wedding. It cost me a ton of money to fly them out there, to, you know, have them in a hotel. And then literally I thought to myself on that day, I was like, man, what if we just had every single videographer that was ever a filmmaker in the United States on a platform, had their availability already set, and it was just like that easy to go on there and find the shooter that you needed. There wasn't an app built yet, and I said, man, this needs to be developed. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but it needs to happen. And so me and my wife, we bought a condo up in the mountains, and 5 months later decided to sell it and just invest it all in building this app.
Which is pretty incredible. Like, I remember hearing that, and that was like, wow, this is not just some like, let me try this one thing, this software. It was like really sold your home to be able to build this solution.
Yeah.
Industry. And that's like serious dedication, and a big reason why I was so excited to share about it. Like, one, it's a really cool solution, but it's you're really dedicated to it because of your experience in the industry and having it. That's wild, having to fly people out from multiple different states to cover the one.
Yeah.
Did you end up making any money on that wedding?
Did. I made about $4,000.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good, but still a little bit of a headache. So, um, some of the problems, right, that we're all really aware of is, um, everyone knows it's kind of tough to find second shooters, right, or third shooters, or main shooters even, and that's the first barrier to entry. The next issue, if you can find people and you're interviewing 50 plus people, is are they available, like you said. And
Yep.
also, like, and we were talking about this before off camera, like, wedding etiquette. Like, what happens if you find somebody, they show up, and not even outside of the work that they do and provide, the memories that they capture, but like, how do they interact with everybody? Are they dressed well? Are they following your own code of conduct that maybe you have for your wedding? Maybe you don't drink, or if you have one, maybe they're having one a little bit earlier than you would, or whatever. There's lots of different beliefs. I think we had one post in this group that had 1,000 comments about whether or not you should have a drink at a wedding with your
Oh
couple.
man.
A little controversial, but like, what if they're not following with what you do? That's not representing your brand in the way.
Right.
Or worse, the point you brought up, which I know we've all experienced this, is what if you have somebody who's there to try and steal your business? What if they're there trying to build connections, trying to network with the vendors? What if they're passing out their cards, right? Following every single person on Instagram. And like, then 6 months go by and all of a sudden you see your clients showing up on their feed instead,
Yeah.
right? That part has a huge impact and cost, long term, short term, and long term on your business. And so you have to find not just somebody who's available, not just somebody who's going to do a good job, but someone who's going to represent your brand really well. And so what you did, which I found super interesting and was kind of shocked when you told me about it, was, one of the ways to make sure people are following the right etiquette and representing your brand well is to have a good contract. And if you want a good contract,
Yeah.
like, usually you have to go spend $500 to $1,000 just to be able to get that. And you guys actually created one and built a partnership to be able to make that accessible for people. That's something that's going to protect them and their company, their couples, their memories, everything. And you even have that as part of the platform that you put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everything's locked in there. I think for me, it was really important to know, number one, dress code is a huge thing just in the industry that I'm in, especially moving into the luxury world. It's like, I want to make sure that my seconds represent who I am as a brand. And also just make a good first impression. A lot of times we're shooting weddings where, we're walking up and obviously this is the first time I'm seeing a couple in real life or the first time I'm seeing the planner. And that first impression I've noticed is such a huge, just a huge thing for a referral business. Is like, when you make a first impression, that's like an everlasting impression to where they want to rehire you again and again or refer you to other people. And so that was something that I felt like that's just what I needed for my second shooter. So that's what I would want for other people too on the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I mean, what did it even look like to be able to have a partnership with a lawyer and legit contracts where you wouldn't have to charge 500 to $1,000? Like, it's part of the pro plan or part of the free plan, or what does that look like?
Yeah, for right now, it is part of the free plan. That will be eventually moving into the pro plan. But for now, get on it. Yeah.
That's so wild. So yeah, grab that. So if had nothing else from this, go sign up for the free account so you can get a contract. That's insane.
Yeah.
And then on top of all of that, the directory side. So how many people do you have who are actually on the platform now?
Yeah, 3,050.
Yeah, which is insane. And incredible. But I know there's even more, which is a big part of why I want to do this, is because like, of all the problems we've talked about, finding the right people, right, who are going to represent you well, who are going to be available, all that stuff, like, it's not very easy. So now there is a directory, a home base where you can go and find people. And the other thing that I think is interesting is you have reviews on here.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through that decision of making sure that there was reviews on the platform.
Yeah, I think this was actually a really tough decision for us to make because, number one, it costs a lot to kind of develop and make sure that it just flowed naturally through the whole flow. But for us, it was like, you're probably not going to be truthfully honest about if somebody did a poor job and leave them a public review.
Mm.
But what I did notice is that when somebody's really, really good, they're going to get a ton of positive feedback. And sometimes no feedback is actually negative feedback. So if you're not seeing reviews on there and they've been hired a couple of times, that's like pretty much showing you that you should probably stay away if nobody's saying anything. Vice versa, if you're seeing a bunch of reviews on there that are going above and beyond and saying words of affirmation or whatever it is, then you know that you can pretty much trust that person. And what I found just in hiring the right second shooters is I want Second Society to be filled with second shooters that I hire, which are people that are already confident in their own business, and they're not trying to, get in touch with the planner that you're working with or trying to use your footage on the back end and hide it from you and, not tag people or whatever. Like they already have their own business already kind of set. They're there to help you out and they're getting paid really well to be there. And so they're supporting you just like you would for them.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to create is a community where we're just really helping each other out. We're not trying to necessarily lift every single person up to our level, but it's like we're all kind of an even playing field. We're all in this together and we all want to serve each other and go above and beyond for each other.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense why you included the word society in the business, because you really, really wanted it to be something that was a community.
Yeah. And to be honest, like selfishly, initially when I was creating it in my head and had this vision, it was like, really, I just want people on here that are at my level, that have already done 5 to 7 years in the business, have already established a name for themselves, already have a brand going, and know what it means to show up and go above and beyond for somebody. Like I've second shot for, 30 people at this point, and being able to walk in there and already know how a wedding goes, already know, how the timeline's going to go. I already have it on my phone. I'm ready to go. Able to be one step ahead of the timeline and know where to be. Like that's how I want all my seconds to be. And that's kind of the culture that we want to create here at Second Society, is teaching people and educating them on what it means to be one of the top 1% of second shooters out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we have something. Well, what is something as you've been building this, right? Because you went from videographer to then like software developer. What was one of the like most shocking things that you learned while building this totally separate business?
Yeah, I would say the shocking thing is the price tag for building software is incredibly expensive, and you kind of are at the mercy of your developer, and so you want to make sure that you have a really good relationship with the developer, that they have your best mind and interest, or best interest in mind.
Yeah.
And someone who kind of gets the vision where you want to take it. We actually worked with 2 developers before the developer that we have right now. And, I just want to say the developer we have right now is amazing and just like totally gets what we're trying to do. And sometimes kind of thinks outside of the box and says, I love that idea, but what if we did it this way? And so that's just been a really cool journey to kind of go on, and did not expect to have to do that. I thought it was a little bit easier than what it is to develop a whole app.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I know Jimmy and I talked about what's something we could do for you guys who are listening into this live. And when it comes to like one, you can go and get a free account right now, and you can start to go around, understand what it is, see how many people are in your local area, second shooters versus people hiring. But there is something that is called the Pro account. So, and we have a giveaway for this. Okay, but maybe first, what you could just tee it up a little bit, Jimmy, on like, what is the Pro account? Why did you guys create it? What are the benefits of it versus your free account?
Yeah, for sure. So for the Pro account, it's pretty simple. The main feature that you're going to get as a shooter is the job alerts feature. And that basically means that you get to put in any city that you want to lead or second shoot in, and the amount that you want to get paid. And basically we send you all the leads through an inbox, through email. And so you'll never actually have to look through the job board or sign in to Second Society again. You basically just wait for the jobs to come in, and once it matches your preferences, you basically click on there and apply, and then you're set to go. For companies that are hiring shooters, The main difference is just the database. You get access to the database, and you can filter by availability, by the gear that people shoot on. What else? By location and the radius of what city they live in. And basically you can find a shooter pretty much anywhere in the world right now, which is pretty cool. So mostly we're in the US. We have, I would say, second place would be Canada, third place Europe, fourth place Australia.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We actually just had some shooter in, was it Scotland, I believe? Just got hired for a job. So we had a US based company, hired somebody in Scotland out there for a big wedding.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's just never been any other way.
Yeah. And then there was another one too, where somebody got hired to go to Italy. So basically he got hired really well to second shoot for the wedding. He had to pay his travel to get out there, but he basically was able to travel around Italy and France for basically free.
Wow.
And get the experience of shooting and be able to get to use some of that footage, which was really cool.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
So would you, there's two things I'm kind of considering asking. One of them is, so there's two people who should be signed up for this, right? There's the people who are looking for second shooters and main shooters or third shooters, maybe fourth if you're one of those. And then
there actually is a lot of companies looking for fourths on there. We have a lot of big time photographers and videographers on there that need a whole team. Sometimes they're looking just for a third shooter to operate the ceremony cameras.
Yeah.
But these are the top 1% of wedding videographers and photographers that are on there, which is really, really cool.
That's so cool. So I love that. Just like my 2 cents, the longer and longer I've done this, the more memories you discover have really high value, especially when you start shooting, you start doing weddings, you think it's all about just like maybe the couple's portraits. And the more you do it, the more stories you hear, and the more experiences you have, the more weddings you have, and the more you watch weddings and see what's valuable and what matters, and the more conversations you have with couples who got married a year ago that tell you, thank you so much for getting this video, thank you so much for getting this audio, thank you so much for getting this photo. Like, you learn what really matters, and as you do that, your team increases, the length of time that you spend at the weddings increases. So I think everyone who's listening, just take note of that. Maybe this is the first time you've heard of somebody having a team of 4. And maybe ask, I wonder why they would do that. And I wonder why there's couples out there that want that. Because if it's happening, and the word Jimmy said was big time photographers, instead of being like, oh, that's crazy or whatever, ask, I wonder why. Why could that be beneficial?
Yeah, I will say, like, one thing I heard was, if you want to shoot a 10K wedding, give 40K worth of value to the couple. And the longer I've done this, the longer that I've noticed that a second shooter is like very valuable, because I'm only one person and I can only be in one place at one time. And I've just watched bad second shooters sit there on their phone or just kind of lazily walking, and I'm seeing a moment happen over there and they're not paying attention to what's going on. And I'm like, dang, dude, that's a moment missed for this wedding, and I could have captured it easily if I just hired the right person. And so I'm just noticing every single year, I'm like, man, my second shooters have to be on it. And it's worth paying for, because again, that's what matters. I'm a huge believer, if I provide 20K value, 30K value in each wedding that I do, I'm just naturally going to rise up and actually start getting paid what I'm worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This
is so good. So let's drop real quick the pro account. So the pro account right now, it's like, I'm assuming, I would encourage you to increase it later. Right? Everyone's like, no. But how much is it usually per month right now?
It's $19 a month or $195 for the year.
$195 for the year. All right. And so what I reluctantly convinced Jimmy to do was to give away, all right, a free pro membership for the year. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this into the chat right now. All right. Let's double check that I can, since we're in a few places. So I know there's quite a few of you listening to this over on Instagram, some of you on YouTube, some of you guys in the group. So I'm going to put this real quick into, onto Instagram first. We're going to drop this on YouTube side. And then we're going to put this on the Facebook side of things. And just make sure to go and sign up for a chance to win the entire year. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry. Did you just say something?
No.
Oh, that was weird. Maybe
I said get on it.
Oh, get on it. Yes. So go sign up for that. That's a huge chance to win something, and especially for like a second shooter, being able to have that push notification of what jobs happen. Like, I think it's a no-brainer if you're gonna make $100 an hour. How much money that investment can make you, especially if you're seeing that stuff first, reaching out to people first. That's a whole other subject. But any last things that you'd want to add in here, whether that's around like advice for if you are a second shooter, advice if you are hiring?
Yeah, I would just encourage everyone. Like, there's people on here. There's one guy named Jake who has done incredible. He made $30,000 last year in lead and second shooting just from Second Society alone. And so for a $200 account, he's made $30K, which I can't do that math real quick, but I think it's like 300x or 500x the amount.
I think it might be bigger than that. Right?
And it's very frustrating for me to see that type of success happen, but it's awesome. And I'm just like super proud of him because he's gone out and he's actually, you know, paid his way or travel to shoot some of these gigs. But in return, he has like 30 or 40 planner referrals, you know what I mean, from that, or from the photographers that he's worked with. He's just made friends. Even the videographers or companies that have hired him to shoot. And so I'm just watching him blow up because of just the quantity of weddings that he's done just through the platform. Not only to get paid $30K, but he's made so many referrals that are just going to pay him back like 10x, you know? So it's just really cool. And so I just encourage people, even if there's a job on there that might not be super close to you and it might take 4 hours to drive to, or even a short plane ride, he's done it and it's just done wonders for him. So just wanted to share that little testimony, which is really cool.
That's pretty incredible. To be able to develop something that has helped an individual like increase their income for $30,000 a year, that's a big deal. So hopefully you're really, really proud of it.
It's pretty wild. He actually turned Second Society into a little game. And so every single job that he books now through Second Society, he does something with his family. So like a couple of weeks ago, he went to Disney World, took his whole family, and he just puts all Second Society money into a separate account. And uses that as fun money for his family, which is really sweet.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
I love this. I'm so glad that you built this for everybody. And make sure you guys all at minimum sign up for that free account because you're getting a contract. I didn't even know that came with the free account. That's insane. But definitely sign up for your chance to win that pro account. And that's it for now. We'll share some more stuff. If you guys have any questions, where's actually the best place for people to learn more about Second Society?
Just head out to secondsociety.io.
Perfect. So that's it. secondsociety.io. Okay. And then if you're listening to this, you're like, hey, I can't see the link in the comments or whatever. Okay. To enter a chance to win that pro membership, if you're listening to this the next few days, okay, it's just secondsociety.myflowdesk.com/legacy creatives. All right. So just make sure to sign that up. So again, that's secondsociety.myflowdesk.com/legacy creatives. And you guys can enter that chance to win the pro account for the entire year. All right. That's it for now. We'll have you back soon. This is awesome, man. Thanks so much for hopping on here and sharing this with everybody. Your baby, your creation.
Yeah.
You made for the world.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Bye.